Hello again, I'm Doug Smith, and welcome to another edition of Portsmouth This Week, the voice of Portsmouth Town Hall. Our guest today is Brian Woodhead, the Deputy Director of the Department of Public Works. Welcome, Brian.
Well, thanks for having me.
And I guess Dave is on a well-deserved vacation right now somewhere, so I hope he's having fun. You got a couple major things going on, and one of them is the paving program. What can you tell us about this next round of paving that's going to take place?
Well, we're gearing up for paving for this summer coming up. We're trying to get it done before the school buses start rolling out. So right now we cleaned all the catch basins in all the areas that we're going to be paving. Our foreman's been out there. He's checked all the catch basins, rolled them all up. We've already repaired like 10 of the catch basins already, and we got about 10 more to do. We put all the signage up in the neighborhoods so everyone knows that that we're going to be in that area. Our Portsmouth Water and Fire has already been out, did all the leak detections, so everything's all set on that end. And our paving contractor, PJ Kings, they've already went out and dig safed everything, so we should be good to go for that.
Okay, now, can you talk about the schedule, or is that too complicated?
No, I can talk about the schedule. The schedule, we're going to be starting August 11th for paving. They're going to start at Sea Meadow Drive, and then they're going to start at the very bottom at Lambie Circle, down the bottom. And they're going to take all the asphalt out, mill it right down to the gravel, and then they're going to be bringing in a road grader to shape everything. And then probably about 2 or 3 days after that, they're going to have the paving contractor follow right behind them and start paving. So Sea Meadow Drive will be first on the list, and then we're going to jump over to King Philip in Common Fence Point. We're going to do the same thing over at King Philip. We're going to get that all taken care of right down to the gravel. And then after that, we're going to move over to Island Park, and we're going to take care of Island Park. Island Park, we're going to be doing Cedar Ave, the back section there. That's going to get milled down to gravel. And then after that, the roads north of Cedar Ave, Riverside from Cedar to the cul-de-sac in the back, and then also Green Street, all those lower areas back there, those are going to get milled 1.5 inches, and they're going to get paved. And from there, we'll move over to Sprague Street. And we have 4 streets over on Sprague Street. We have Lowell Drive, that's going to get milled out, and then Butts, Carver, and Manitou, those are just going to get overlaid because we put binder on them in the spring. And then the last part of it is we're going to jump over to the Public Works Department, and then we have the service road in the back, and then where our fuel tanks are, where everyone fuels up, is going to be paved also.
Yeah. Now this is all done through a contract with somebody that does this all the time, right?
Through PJ Keating. They have our, this is the second year of the contract, then next year we'll have to go out to bid again.
Yeah, I have to ask you if we could explain a little bit what some of the paving terms mean,
Okay,
like milling and all that kind of stuff.
When we mill, there's a machine that comes out, and it just takes off the 1.5 inches of the surface course. It'll just mill out 1.5 inches.
Is that normally about the depth of the road of the asphalt?
Usually it's supposed to be 3 inches.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't find that. Sometimes it's only 2 inches, but we want to pull off 1.5 inches, and then we put back 1.5 inches. So there is still a base on it below it. And then when we mill to gravel, the same machine, the milling machine, will go in there and they'll take off the 3 inches, take all the asphalt right off of that, put it in the truck, haul it off site, and then the road grader will come and shape everything up after that.
Yeah, so essentially it's like redoing the whole road, I mean.
When we mill down to gravel, it is redoing the whole road. Instead of pulverizing it and pushing it all back into the soil, we had better luck with just milling it to gravel, especially if we didn't have big wheel ruts or anything like that, so it's been working out very well for us.
Now, what can people expect while paving is going on in their neighborhood? I mean, do you guys go to one lane or in the daytime, or how does that work?
They do pave 1 lane at a time. It gets a little chaotic in the neighborhood, especially when they're paving. But we do have police details scheduled for those, and the police will help them out. But it does get pretty chaotic because, if the paver does go by their driveways, they have to wait a couple minutes before they can pull out. But they can pull out. It's not like we housebound them for the whole day or anything. So.
Right. Well, that's good, because that would really cause problems.
Oh,
yeah. Besides this reconstructive paving, which is basically like rebuilding the road, what else do you guys do to roads to kind of keep them so they don't have to be paved all the time?
We have a pavement management program system that we had about 4 years ago that we instituted.
Yeah, Dave talked about that one.
Yeah, Beta Engineering came in, they assessed all our roads, and we have a plan in place too. So a lot of the stuff that, instead of paving the roads, we crack seal a lot, and that's huge on the for the roads, because you get that little bit of crack and the water goes into the crack, and then next thing you know, it starts becoming a problem. You know, it
Yeah.
starts washing away the fines, and so we do a lot of crack sealing. We've done micro surfacing too. That's like what we did on Sandy Point Ave, Wapping Road.
Now what does that entail?
That's just a thin layer that goes over the existing asphalt. It's like 3/8 of an inch thick, and it's got like it's got asphalt emulsion, it's got cement dust, and then fines in it, and then they just lay it right down and it seals everything.
You know, I read somewhere where in Europe they use this special stuff. It's like asphalt, but I guess it's stronger and it lasts longer than the stuff we use. Have you guys? I mean, is that the case? Or you guys is this paving company always looking for?
They're always looking for different things. The microsurfacing is a different company. PJ King does do that. They mostly just do asphalt.
Okay.
We used seal coating ink last time to do the microsurfacing, and then we also use a hot rubber chip seal too. And that was on not Sandy Point, Linden Lane and the 70 complex. That's a hot rubber chip seal down there. So there's different companies that have different products out there, and we've been trying them all just to see how good they last.
Yeah.
And the ones on the microsurface have been lasting really well. I mean, it's probably been 5 years almost that we did that.
Which is pretty good, right?
Yeah, and they only last, they're supposed to last between 6 and 8 years before you have to do another surface on top of them, so it gives a lot of bang for the buck.
Yeah. You know, potholes are always an issue on the island, generally,
Oh, yeah.
probably in Rhode Island in general. How do you handle problems like that, and how many complaints do you have to get before you go out and fill a pothole, for example?
We don't have to get many complaints. As soon as that first person calls it as a pothole, we try to get out and take care of it right away. Potholes in New England, they're all over the place.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
'cause
part
we
of
get
New
that.
England,
Yeah, we get that freeze-thaw cycle that really wreaks havoc with the roads. And you know, in the wintertime, we're pretty aggressive on that. We have crews go out north and south. And then, you know, they have a list of all the roads that they take care of, and they just check them off as they go down.
And this was a particularly bad winter last year.
It was.
I hope we don't have another one like that this year. Well, if somebody sees a pothole or, you know, goes by they think is large enough to complain about, how do they do that?
Well, if it's a town road, they can call our office at 683-0362. They can go on our website. Our website will direct them right to the right department to call. I mean, if it's a state road, then they need to call the state.
Okay, now the website is part of the town's website, right?
The town's
so they can
website.
go right to portsmouthri.com
.com.
and find that out. What happens if somebody's, you know, really had damage to their front end or their car? What do they do? Is there any recourse? Or
There is recourse. I mean, if they have damage on a town road, I'm not quite sure about the state roads, what their policies are, but the town roads, if someone has damaged the vehicle on a town road, first they have to fill out a police report, and then after their police report, they submit it up to finance, and finance handles it after that.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the issues that we have around here, is that part of our roads are town roads,
Right.
and another part are state roads. DOT, I guess, is responsible for those.
Right.
Can you give a quick version of how these break out? Like the east and west main roads, I assume, are
state.
DOT.
Right, DOT. We have 111 miles of town-accepted public roads. We have like 21 miles of private roads in town, and then the state has about 37 miles of state roads. Like you said, East and West Main Road, everyone knows. Route 24, that's all state DOT. Some of the other ones that people aren't really familiar with is Park Ave, that's state, and then Point Road from Park Ave that crosses over the escape bridge, that's also state, and then Riverside that goes underneath the Sconneck River Bridge, that's also state. And then there's a section of Anthony Road from the state highway garage to Boys Lane is state, and then Boys Lane itself is state, Bristol Ferry Road is state, Turnpike Ave.
Bristol Ferry Road is state?
It's state,
Wow.
state highway.
No wonder it's...
And then you have Turnpike, Sprague Street is also state, and then when you get down to the south end of town, you got Union Street, Schoolhouse Lane, and then the section of Mill Road between Schoolhouse Lane and Union Street is also state.
So it's kind of like spread throughout the town, more or less.
It
little
is.
pockets of state. And the thing is there any coordination between you guys and the DOT in terms of, you know, when you're going to fix the roads or anything like that?
Well, we try to coordinate with DOT. Like on Anthony Road, we try to see if they would wanted to fund any of their part of their road, because we were already in that area from from their state garage
Yeah,
to Boys
right.
Lane, but they were running into, I think, money situations at that time. They weren't able to fund that, so they told us.
There's always a money situation.
There is.
It's Rhode Island, after all, But it's interesting because it'd be nice if it was only like the two main roads, then everybody would kind of know
Right.
what DOT is responsible for, and then we could complain to DOT.
Well, a lot of people think Middle Road is ours from Schoolhouse of Union, because we get a lot of phone calls about that,
really.
about
That's
potholes.
DOT as well?
That's DOT. And people always keep calling us, how come you didn't pave this section? And it's like, well, that's DOT's section, so it's not
Well,
ours.
the problem with having two entities that are responsible is things fall in the cracks.
It does.
That's a problem here. The next major effort that you guys have coming up, which is going to, I think, affect almost everybody in Portsmouth, is the transfer station repair. Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the transfer station, we signed a contract with J.R. Venegro. They won the bid. Now, J.R. Venegro, they're going to be the ones doing the transfer station. We just signed all the paperwork, so it's going to be a removal of the old building, not a reskinning of it. So we're going to remove the old building, and then we're going to install a new building, and it's going to start around August 30th and last until about September 30th. So it's about a month. That's going to be a little.
Okay, so about the month of September.
The month of September is going to last.
Okay, now when they start to do this, what are we going to see in terms of hours of use, since we all have to dump our trash somewhere?
Right, we got signs being made right now. We're going to post those way ahead of time, so everyone's aware of it at the transfer station, because there's so many people that go there.
Yeah.
But the hours of use, right now it's closed on Wednesdays, so it's going to be closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, so they can do the demolition and make everything safe for the people, and then it's going to be open on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 7 to 7:30 for the month of September.
So conceivably, they'll go in and they'll take the old building down.
Correct.
And then conceivably, it'd be open to
It'll be open.
So people will drive through. They don't have to drive into a building. They drive into the pits.
Right.
And drop them off.
Well, part of the contract too, what Dave wrote up was that they had to make it safe. So on the back side, on the west side of the building, they're going to have a chain link fence so people don't drive off. And then when the guardrail is on the back side, they're going to put Jersey barriers because it's a little steeper of a drop off.
Yeah.
So they're going to put that over there.
Well, I don't think anybody's ever seen it without the building there.
No, it's going to be a little shocker for everyone.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting. So the transfer station will be open from Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday through Sunday from
And
7.
That's during the month of 7:30 to 7:30.
Is it open 7:30 right now? 7:30 to 7. That's what it is.
7:30
7:30 a.m.
Okay.
to 7 p.m.
All right. So and it's open on Sunday, which is going to help.
Yeah, it's going to help out because it's going to offset the hours for the Monday and Tuesday, because Tuesdays is usually from 7:30 to 7, so
Yeah.
they're going to offset the hours for like that
Okay, I think you have to do that in order
to accommodate
do
everyone.
one of these things like that. And yeah, like as I say, you have to have some way to dump the trash. So.
Because there's going to be a generator there to run it, because they have to disconnect the electrical, so there's going to be a generator running for the pits.
Yeah.
And then at nighttime, they're going to have tower lights there, so shining down, so we have lights for everyone to.
Now, these two major projects, the paving project and the transfer station project, what is DPW's role in this? Oversight? I assume you guys go over and check it all the time?
I think Dave's the clerk of the works for the transfer station. I kind of oversee all the paving part of it. We do have DPW employees that are down there all the time for paving, signing all the slips, make sure all the trucks are coming in.
Yeah.
And we oversee the whole project for paving from start to finish. Right now, we're fixing all the catch bases, make sure those are all set too.
Now, do you guys have to go before the town council to tell them about these things in advance, or?
Dave does, yeah. Dave goes in front of the town council, and he's already got the approval for the town, for our paving list for this year, and the transfer station also.
Yeah. Getting back to your gear, it's really interesting to me to drive down to where your office is and see all these different kinds of trucks. If a kid would go bananas down there just looking at the different stuff. What kind of condition is your fleet of equipment down there? Are you guys reasonably okay?
We have 44 pieces of equipment, like major pieces of equipment. That's not including like the lawn mowers and weed whackers and stuff like that. But the average age of our equipment is like 14 years old, And Dave presents that every year to the council in the budget. That he has a form he works out on a spreadsheet that we're supposed to be, in the real world, we're supposed to be contributing $230-something thousand a year to upgrade the equipment.
Yeah.
And we understand that, there's only so much money to go around to the town, so, sometimes it doesn't get funded, sometimes it does. And, some of our equipment, it's, like you said, it's large, like a backhoe or a road grader or a big truck. I mean, that's a huge dollar amount for them to fund. So, $230,000 buys, maybe a large truck and a small truck. It doesn't buy much.
Yeah. Now, do you guys do the maintenance and stuff yourself on those vehicles? You have a mechanic? And
We do. We have a full-time mechanic, Matt Sylvia. He's right on top of it. I mean, he's been great working on trucks. He doesn't like to put anything out, even though sometimes we have to because there's so much backed up for him, and he hates that. But he wants to do everything in-house.
Well, that's
so
good.
that's
He
great.
keeps you guys going. We're coming up to the hurricane season, and then we'll get into the winter. I'm sure you guys have already started prepping for stuff like that. What do you guys do before the seasons to get ready for these things?
Well, we already started. Prudence Island, people forget about Prudence Island, but we're over in Prudence Island. We already had one of their trucks come over. Matt went through the whole truck, so that one already went back. We have another Prudence Island truck over here. He's going through that one also, just to get ready for the winter. And then we'll start working on some of our larger pieces of equipment to get that ready for public works.
Now, does your mechanic do anything with the police or fire department? Or do they have their own?
We don't do anything. We don't do anything with the fire department. We do have a police maintenance mechanic. He takes care of the police cars.
Okay.
But the fire department, I mean, if they have a major problem, they come down. We try to help them out if they can. But if they can service it, send it out, then that's great too. But anything major, I mean, we try to help out as best we can.
Well, particularly during the hurricane season, when we get swiped or sideswiped or something by one of these things. What is your major issue that you have to deal with during that? Storm drains or?
Well, drainage is some of it. I mean, there's only so much you can do when the rains are pouring down. You kind of almost have to wait for everything to subside before you can really start doing anything. Our major thing is mostly limbs, I mean, the tree limbs that come down.
Yeah.
But we don't want to send our guys down in the middle of a storm either, so we have to, prioritize what's going on. If the fire department has to get down there, then we'll definitely send someone down and get the limb out of there, or maybe just send a payloader to push it off to the side.
Yeah, right.
But major things mostly is trees and limbs.
Yeah. But it all hinges on having equipment that works and is up and running and all that kind of stuff. So.
And Matt's really good about keeping it up and running.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right on top of it.
So is there any kind of a plan going forward to replace some of these really old pieces that are?
Well, Dave puts in a 5-year capital improvement plan. So every year that he submits, it's hard to look down 5 years because sometimes it doesn't get funded, sometimes it does. So, but Dave does submit that every year in his budget.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to me to believe that anybody would defer maintenance on the roads for 2 or 3 years, which is what we did a few years ago.
Right.
And I think that this paving program, the money you've got for that's probably helped to keep the roads in reasonable condition.
Oh, it's been great. I mean, the council been approving this is the 4th year going on, and it's been great that they've been funding this.
Yeah.
It's helped out a lot.
Well, this is our basic infrastructure. I mean,
It is.
If you don't have roads that are passable, you're.
It's the most costly infrastructure in the
I'm sure.
town.
That's right.
It's like over $200 million.
Yeah. Now, speaking of maintenance and stuff on the roads, who's responsible for cutting limbs back that are going over the power lines?
That's National Grid's responsibility. They're in charge of limbs that are hanging on the power lines or touching the power lines. If anyone has a problem with that, they need to call National Grid. Police or fire too. Police and fire will notify them also.
Yeah.
Because there's a 10-foot clearance that they have for their power lines.
Now, what does that mean? They're supposed to be 10 feet away from the power lines?
From the main power lines, the branches should be 10 feet away.
Yeah. See, if you go down East or West Main Road, you see branches hanging over.
I know. It's
like a major problem during a hurricane or something.
They did come in, I want to say two years ago, and they did a lot of line trimming.
Yeah.
And that's why you see a lot of the trees that have a big Y in them now, because they trimmed them all back. Because so close to the power lines, they can be energized. So especially if they're touching the power lines, I mean,
Yeah.
the whole tree could be energized. So you
Well,
have to be
and
very
these things are
careful.
literally big branches laying over the power lines.
Right.
And what can we do to try to get National Grid to do their job on these things? I mean, is there any way we could go in as a town and ask that they do it? Because it seems to me it's getting kind of serious out there.
It is. We work with the tree commission also too. So the tree commission, probably coupled with us, we could probably go out there and ask requests.
That's
them
our
to
tree
trim.
commission?
Our tree
Yeah,
commission.
yeah, right, exactly.
So we could probably request. We have good working relations with National Grid, especially their forestry division. So
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a major problem or major trees
Yeah,
overhanging
again,
some
it's
sections,
one of these things, you don't know it's a major problem until it falls down and shorts something off and we
Right.
lose power.
I know.
But we are getting towards that time. So that might be worth, something that, as a town, going to national rather than individuals.
Right, because I know National Grid, I think they have a 10-year cycle for tree trimming, or it might be less, it might be 5 to 10 years they have a tree
Yeah.
trimming cycle.
Well, we have, number one, we have a lot of power lines going up and down the road.
Right, I know.
And number two, we got a lot of trees that are right on top of these things. And it's got to be a tough job, but, it's one of these things that National Grid should be thinking about so we don't lose power during
Right.
these things. Let me ask you, how many guys do you have working in DPW?
Public Works, we have a total of 16 employees. We have 2 for Prudence Island. Those are, we have 1 full-time resident that lives over there. And then we have our foreman that commutes back and forth. And then we have two mechanics. We have the head mechanic, Matt Sylvia, then we have the police maintenance mechanic. So that brings us down to 12. So we have 12 employees for the town of
Wow,
Portsmouth.
you guys have the whole town there.
The whole
to
town.
take care of. Yeah.
It's a lot.
That's kind of amazing. One of the things I think people should know is you guys do a great job on all the sort of town areas that we have, and I'm speaking specifically about the Bristol Ferry Town Common, which is dear to my
thanks.
heart. You guys do a great job, and you keep the place looking pretty good, I think.
Oh, great.
Up and down. What other areas do you guys, like you were saying, Founders Brook?
We take care of Founder's Brook. We mow all the right-of-ways to the shoreline from CRMC, all the ones, there's like 4 in Island Park, there's 1 on Park Ave, off of Park Ave is town property, there's ones off Water Street, Quinnick, and then we also mow Founders, like you said. We do Heritage Park right near the transfer station.
Yeah.
We take care of that. We mow the grass behind the fire, the police department, and DPW. We also take care of the 3S property, the walking trail, the green trail.
Yeah.
So we mow that. We also take care of Glen Park. Our contractor mows the outskirts of the fields in the back where the amphitheater is down there, near the manor house and behind the soccer field. But we mow the field itself. And the ticks have been so bad this year, so we've been trying to keep it low because people love to walk their dogs through there and walk, and we don't want people to get too inundated with all the ticks.
Yeah, well, the thing that strikes me about this stuff is, number one, it's continuous.
It is.
This is the job you guys do all the time. And I just wonder, do you do this by a schedule where you say, okay, 3 weeks, every 3 weeks or 2 weeks we're going to do this?
We try to do the right-of-ways and all the parts like that weekly. Sometimes, well, not this time of year because it's been raining all the time, but usually if it slows down, we could probably do it once every 2 weeks. But we try to keep on top of that because we want the town. When people come to town, we want to make it look presentable. So we do that on a weekly basis. Then we still have to sweep our streets too. So
Yeah.
so we just finished that. So that's huge, and we clean our catch bases. People don't realize about the catch bases.
That was another question I was going to ask you. How's that going? Because that's a major issue down by Island Park.
Right.
The stuff it gets clogged up.
Well,
How do you stay on top of that?
Well, we go out, we clean every catch basin. We have like 2,750 of them in the town. We clean them every year. And that's huge. I mean, it takes them probably like 3 or 4 months to clean all the catch
I would
basins.
imagine, yeah.
But the ones in Island Park, the problem with that is our drainage ties into state drainage that outfalls to the beach. So every time the tide comes up, it covers their outfall pipes on the beach, so it's harder for them to drain. So in the heavy rains, we have an agreement with the state that they'll dig out those outfalls so the water will flow through there.
Yeah, so the state's got responsibility for Island Park Avenue?
Park Ave, right.
Okay.
So they have to clean out those little outfalls because our drainage from Island Park ties into theirs, and it goes across the street. So it's kind of but we do have a good working relations with the DOT, And they are totally understanding that they'll come down there with the backhoe and clean those pipes out for us.
Yeah, because you get down there and just about any kind of heavy rain and there's a major issue down there.
And that's the problem too, because if they clean them out the day before, the tide comes in, pushes all the sand
That's
up
right,
there,
so
so now they're back there the next day trying to clean them all back out
Yeah,
again.
it seems like there ought to be a better way to do that, but I don't know what it is.
It's been built up so much that the tide keeps changing that shoreline. It's very hard for them to keep on top of that.
Do you guys do the Black Regiment?
We don't.
Or is that state or something?
That's state. DEM probably takes care of
Yeah,
that.
okay.
And I think they're out of the Bristol office, Coal State Park.
You know, and this year, mosquitoes haven't seemed to be much of a problem, but what do you guys do for, knock wood,
Okay.
what do you guys do for mosquito abatement?
Mosquito abatement, we have a contractor, Narragansett Pest Control. They do all the saltwater marshes, like Island Park, Common Fence Point. They do underneath the Mount Hope
Those
Bridge.
are breeding grounds for mosquitoes.
Huge breeding ground for mosquitoes, especially the saltwater mosquitoes. Those are very aggressive mosquitoes that everyone gets. They'll be out the brightest sun and they're still flying around.
Yeah.
But we take care of all the catch basins. DEM, Al Getman from Mosquito Abatement from DEM, he puts it on every year. They give out so many briquettes to drop into our catch basins, and then we install them. I want to say April, I think May, mid-May. We put all the briquettes in all the catch basins, and that helps on the freshwater mosquito population.
Yeah.
But the saltwater mosquitoes, we've been lucky. Al Getman 2 years ago cleaned out all the mosquito ditches in Island Park near Cardi Cove. So he cleaned out all those ditches and it helped out tremendous.
Yeah. Well, I know when we had our 375th and we were trying to do something at the Founders Brook area, which has really got a lot of mosquitoes
They do.
normally. You guys came in the day before, and I don't know what you did, but it was really nice. There were no mosquitoes at all the next couple of days.
They sprayed like a garlic oil on it. It holds the mosquitoes down. It's temporary, but it does work very well. And especially if you're going to have a party or something like that. There's other companies out there that put other products down, but that one worked really well for the Founders Brook one.
Well, I'll tell you, it's really great having a DPW that's responsive to citizens. I think you guys do a great job with what you got. I'd like to see you get, maybe a couple more people.
Oh, that'd be great.
And maybe have some kind of plan going forward for replacing the major equipment and that kind of stuff. Is there anything else you'd like to tell people in the last minute or so we've got left here?
Oh, just when the paving starts going on, just try
Have
to
patience.
have patience, and just add a little extra time when they're going out, and then I think we should be all set.
Yeah, probably the same thing too with the transfer station.
Just be careful at the transfer station, because I think it's going to be a big shock when they don't see a building there, and they're going to try to go around Jersey barriers or something like that. So just be careful.
Yeah, hopefully the first time you do it, you'll get a fix on how to.
Right.
Of course, when you come back the next time, it might be different too.
It might be.
Yeah. Listen, Brian, thanks so much for coming in and give my best to all your guys down there.
I will.
You do great work.
Well, thank you, Doug.
That's quite all right. That's it for me. Doug Smith. We'll see you next week on Portsmouth This Week. Thank you.